watching Biography of the Millennium on A&E. Here's a recap of our countdown of the 100 most influential people of the millennium.
They all laughed, Wilbur and his brother, when they said that man could fly.
Of course they laughed. Flying was the stuff of dreams, lovely to contemplate, impossible to achieve. But Wilbur and Orville Wright, number 40 on our list, ignored the laughter. For more than a decade, these two bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio, worked to build a flying machine. They conducted thousands of experiments with gliders, designing just the right wing and propeller. There were lots of failures, but on December 17, 1903, at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, Orville Wright flew their propeller-driven craft 120 feet. It was the first of 4 flights that day and the beginning of a brand new era.
They challenged themselves and pushed themselves to the limit. For all their perseverance, we've now got people being able to fly around the world in less than 30 hours.
The Wrights' invention not only revolutionized transportation, it answered an age-old yearning.
Man has always regretted being earthbound and has wanted to fly and wanted to soar and wanted to be weightless and wanted to explore. And the Wright brothers certainly made probably the greatest contribution to the entire 20th century by putting us there.
Who's got the last laugh now?
From flights of reality to flights of fancy, it's been said that only 2 writers shaped the modern world with their words, Shakespeare and this man, Dante Alighieri. Dante's Divine Comedy tells the story of a hero's journey through heaven, hell, and purgatory. More than a gripping tale, the Divine Comedy is a veritable encyclopedia of the Middle Ages. Most important, it was written in Italian, not ancient Latin, making it accessible to the masses. To this day, Dante's masterpiece entertains readers everywhere with its wit, poetry, and beauty. Sir Francis Bacon, number 38, was a philosopher, statesman, and pioneer of modern science, the father of the scientific method.
The vision that Bacon comes up with, that we are, in fact, capable of understanding the world, of knowing it better, and that science is the way of doing it, is a very important vision.
His scientific method is at the core of all modern research. To understand the way things work, Bacon said, you have to go out and observe the world, gather data, experiment. Ironically, science also proved his undoing. Testing to see if cold could preserve food, Bacon stuffed a raw chicken with snow. The experiment was a success, but Bacon himself caught a chill and died. He was the wit and conscience of 18th century France, one of the greatest thinkers of the Enlightenment, Voltaire.
Voltaire is a huge mover, a sort of philosophical showman, one of the earliest important, genuine international intellectual celebrities.
Voltaire was twice imprisoned in the Bastille, but fought against tyranny and intolerance his whole life. His weapon, words, the biting satire of his books. In plays and pamphlets and novels like Candide, Voltaire spoke out against the oppression of organized religion and the monarchy. At a time when Europe was ruled with an iron fist, his bold ideas swept across the continent, laying the foundation for revolution and the freedoms we cherish today. It's a good thing that number 36, Alexander Fleming, was a messy guy. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't be on our Millennium list. Fleming's story begins in his London laboratory. One day in 1928, he noticed a strange fungus growing in a petri dish that seemed to kill the bacteria around it. He ran some tests, wrote up his notes, and put the mold aside.
most of us would have looked and said, oh, and thrown it away. That's what would happen.
The substance was penicillin, and it would revolutionize medicine. Penicillin laid waste the germs that cause such deadly diseases as diphtheria, pneumonia, and syphilis.
I am old enough to have practiced medicine in the days before penicillin, and I can tell you it was like night and day. People died of things that we would never think a patient would die of.
The discovery of penicillin came at a crucial moment. With the outbreak of World War II, it was hailed as the wonder drug. By the time D-Day arrived, there was enough penicillin to treat every wounded Allied soldier. Fleming received the Nobel Prize, a knighthood, and the knowledge that his work had saved millions of lives. He led a world-shaking revolution and became the first ruler of the Soviet Union. Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, Lenin, number 35 on our list. He took the theories of Marx and Engels and twisted them for his own use while secretly organizing opposition to the Tsar. As famine and poverty devastated Russia, Lenin organized the Bolshevik Party, and in November 1917, he led them to the barricades, and the revolution began.
It wasn't a true people uprising. The Bolsheviks were never the majority in Russia. It was a coup. It was a party-led coup by a brilliant political opportunist.
It was a surprisingly bloodless takeover, but the aftermath was not. Lenin was ruthless. Civil war, starvation, and the secret police killed millions.
What Lenin was about in the end was brutality and power. The first concentration camps were the creation of Lenins. The establishment of a war on intellectuals and free thought and religion was an invention not of Stalin's, but of Lenin's.
Lenin's dream was to spread the communist revolution around the world. He would succeed only in part, but the lives that were lost, the money that was wasted in 7 decades of East-West strife make Lenin's rise to power one of the pivotal events of the millennium.